evening to Total Is Me. My name is Shyang. So today we are going to talk about the water pollution crisis in Malaysia together with my teammates who is AMIR, MARIASTER and VANESSA. Before we have an in-depth review on the water pollution in Malaysia, let us have a general visual on what is the water pollution.
Comprising over 70% of the Earth's surface, water is undoubtedly the most precious natural resource that exists on our planet. Without the water, Earth would be non-existent, and it is essential for everything on our planet to grow and prosper. However, water quality issues are a major challenge that humanity is facing in the 21st century. Fresh water on Earth is a scarce and irreplaceable resource which is unequally distributed by nature. Poorer water quality means water pollution. Water pollution can be defined in many ways. Usually, it means one or more substances have been built up in water to such an extent that they cause problems for animals or people.
Due to the urbanizations and modernizations, river pollution become a serious problem in Malaysia and has an adverse impact on the sustainability of the water resource. Johor is a state that contains the most polluted river in Malaysia. At the late February 2019, there were total 25 dead rivers in Malaysia from just one in 2017. 16 of these rivers are in Johor, which equals to 64% of the dead river in Malaysia. These rivers were categorized under Class 5, which is the most polluted river. The top 5 polluted rivers in Malaysia are all located in Johor, which is Sungai Tukang Batu, Sungai Bulu, Sungai Sengkuang, Sungai Tampoy, and also Sungai Terbrau.
So, in order to differentiate the severity of the water pollution in Malaysia, there are two things we need to consider.
The first thing need to be considered is the water quality index. In Malaysia, the Department of Environment (DOE) has used the WQI water quality index to indicate the class of pollution and the corresponding suitability in terms of water uses according to the National Water Quality Standards for Malaysia. The concentration of each parameter in the river will classify the pollution of the river into 5 classes, which is from Class 1 to Class 5. From WQI, it will lead to another factor we need to consider, which is the class of water pollution. There will be 5 classes, which is from Class 1 to Class 5 as mentioned before. Class 1 is the water will be clean, and Class 5 will indicate that the water is polluted. According to the DOE, Johor has the most cases in polluted river. From the Environmental Quality Report EQR 2017, Johor has 28 rivers polluted in Class 3 through Class 5.
Sources of pollutants for water pollution in Malaysia could be in various types, which mainly categorized as 2 sources, which are point source and non-point source. Non-point source refers to the pollutants that could not be readily identify their source when they are transported into receiving water in diffuse manner. Meanwhile, the point source mean that the pollutants that are from discrete convenience, such as discharge pipe, and are regulated by the federal and the state agency. Here is some of the common causes of the water pollutions. Reason of the water pollution in Malaysia, especially in Johor, may due to the urbanization, which relatively stimulate the economic activity and human population. Johor is Malaysia's second most populous state after Selangor, with a population of 3.55 million in 2015. Malaysia has been the major producers of the agriculture commodities, especially the palm oil, where Johor has the biggest growth rate in peninsular Malaysia. The runoff from the urban area is the main source of the contaminant, which causes the increase of toxic contents, temperature, and changing of water chemical compositions. Other than that, sources such as oil pollution, heavy metals, and solid waste that are generated from different sources also have been identified as the major contributions to the deterioration of the water quality. Deteriorating of water qualities and water pollution have causes few impacts towards human health and also to the ecosystems and aquatic life. Pollutions caused by those chemical and toxic which bring to unhygiene conditions of water could also result in infections of waterborne disease to human health, which including the cholera, typhoid fever, SARS, hepatitis, and dysentery. Besides that, the heat from effluent discharge from factory was rapidly absorbed by river, and this will also contribute to the rise of temperature in water body, which known as heat pollutions. This temperature shock can cause some temperature sensitive species experiencing extinctions in particular water body.
In Malaysia, there is a few ministries and institutions that involves in water pollution management. For example, in Johor itself, we have a Department of Irrigation and Drainage for in the state level, and we have a Department of Environment for the federal level. In 1920s, Malaysia has a Water Act, which is the main objective of this act is to control the river pollution. However, this legislation was limited in scope and inadequate to handling the complex environment problem. So in 1974, the Environment Quality Act or EQA is established. Based on this EQA, the establishment of DOE was enacted in March 1974 and came into force in 1975. Environmental Quality Act also outlined the discharge of sewage onto any soil or into any inland waters. Highlighted in the regulation is the role of every premises owner onto the monitoring and compliance of the concentration of the parameter for standard A and standard B as stipulated in the second schedule of the regulation. For disposal of scheduled waste, it outlined in the first schedule of Environmental Quality Regulation 2005. Scheduled waste are toxic and hazardous, so these regulations are to ensure the proper management of scheduled waste to prevent pollution of scheduled waste into the environment, to monitor the movement of scheduled waste, and to ensure that the scheduled waste is handled at the licensed facilities.
In this video, we pick up 3 real cases of river pollution in Malaysia. First, the pollution in Sungai Kelang. Sungai Kelang is one of the major river basins in Selangor other than Sungai Langat and Sungai Selangor. The overall WQI score of Sungai Kelang for the present condition is categorized as slightly polluted at 64. Most of Sungai Kelang stretch is not suitable for body contact purpose. Human activities that generate solid waste and wastewater are often conveniently channeled off to Sungai Kelang. Sungai Kelang pollution are derived from several sources, mainly from solid waste generated from squatter settlements and markets, sewerage effluents, industrial effluents, and sediment from construction sites. Many initiatives have been carried out, such as River of Life program to ensure Sungai Kelang can achieve WQI score at least class 2B. The next cases is at southern of Peninsula Malaysia, which in Sungai Kim Kim, Johor. On March 2019, a water toxic pollution occurred at Sungai Kim Kim in Pasir Udang. This incident started when it is been discovered that 103 victims, mainly students from 2 different schools located near the river, began to complain of breathing difficulties. Throughout the investigation, local authorities estimated that around 20 to 40 tons of chemical waste were illegally dumped under a bridge in Kota Masai, which flowed directly into Sungai Kim Kim. About 3 months after the pollution began, it ended with 6,000 people being affected, with 2,775 people are hospitalized from exposure to toxic fumes. Most of the victims were school students, and 111 schools located near the river were being shut temporarily. The last is in Sungai Langat. Sungai Langat is one of the most important raw water resources for drinking water, industry, recreation, agriculture and fishery in Selangor, Malaysia. The oil spill incident from the oil separator machine due to the continuous heavy rain have contaminated the raw water in Langat River on 4 May 2020. The sources of pollution was originated from a power plant in Kuala Langat. Furthermore, on 8 November 2016, it was reported that 16 cases of river pollution were recorded in Selangor until the end of October, and 8 of the cases were in Langat River, which have forced the Langat water treatment plant to shut down, affecting more than 1 million customers in Hulu Langat, Kuala Langat, Petaling Jaya and Sepang.
NGO can help the government to foster citizens' awareness on the river pollutions, as many of them have a very comprehensive module of projects to be carried out. A good example is like the Global Environment Center, or GEC. This center has been established in 1998 to work on environmental issues of the global importance. GEC focuses on rehabilitation and community development. They have the knowledge and experience in rivers, mangroves, peat swamps, and hill forest rehabilitation. GEC has introduced a program which called River Care Program, which is focused on promoting community participation in river and water resources protection. Another way to protect our water resources is to prohibit construction of a new chemical factories. Chemical dumping was the key cause that led to severe river pollution at some industrial areas. When the state government prohibits the construction of a new chemical factories, the river pollution will be less and no longer severe. A regular monitoring of the factories and premises must be done by Department of Environment to ensure that these factories and premises are following the regulations set in terms of the type of chemical discharge and the amount of the chemical. Now, Malaysia government has started to make amendments for a stricter law enforcement and stiffer penalties to the offenders of the water pollution. The government also drafting an act that can punish the authority if the inspector themselves was found guilty of receiving corruptions indirectly to allow the operators to continuously discharge this harmful waste into the river.
As the development of the technology is getting better and better, there are many innovative ways to solve the water pollution issue in Malaysia.
The first innovative way is the Sea-Beam project. It is an ocean cleaning technology which collects trash floating in ports and marinas and simultaneously collects data on the state of global waterways, guiding efforts to clean the oceans. This technology can also provide practical solutions to reduce the plastic in our oceans and raise awareness and educate the public to prevent ocean pollution. Rivers circulating the heavily polluted area in Malaysia are mostly at either state, and this condition will also be ideal for the sea bin to be placed and put into use. Besides, the second way will be the ocean cleanup project. It is the first scalable solution to prevent plastic from entering the world's oceans from rivers, and it is 100% solar powered. The water flow path is optimized to pass through the system, carrying the plastic debris onto the conveyor belt, and it can store up to 50 cubic meters of trash. The interceptor helps to improve the cleanup efficiency, making for quicker and more scalable cleanup. The intention is to deploy more cleanup systems throughout Malaysia, especially at the heavily polluted rivers.
To summarize all the information details given, there is no doubt that rivers and their management will be a central issue in the 21st century, particularly as more than half of the world rivers are dying. As rivers become more polluted, water becomes scarce. This will lead to a dangerous situation whereby countries sharing the same river basin will get into disputes. Water pollution is a serious problem in Malaysia and impacts negatively on the sustainability of water resources. Most of the sources of pollution have been caused by human activity. It is really significant for every one of us to take part and responsibility to protect the water quality, because it is the irreplaceable sources from the Mother Earth. The most fundamental thing we need to embrace is the education on the importance to keep the water away from pollution and public awareness towards any illegal act. Thank you.